So I have my 2 bags of frozen discards that I saved for stock vegetables. I've got a bag of beef bones and a smaller one. So I'm going to get that going in my stock pot for several hours today and get a beautiful rich beef stock that I choose to can in pint jars. So let's do it. So it's going to be a little noisy as this hits the bottom of my pot, but you'll be all right. So I'm going to take some of my bones. You can absolutely roast these to start with in your oven. I don't do that unless I'm using like store-bought beef bones. So I'm just taking what I had frozen, chunking in the bottom of this, and this has always made me a very beautiful broth. So listen, I stick with what works for me, okay? If it ain't broke, you ain't got to change it. And it ain't hard, it's just canning. Okay, that takes care of that. Let's get our vegetable bags. I ain't even got the burner on, so I'm gonna dump them in here. These are discards of, let's see, celery, onion skins. That's what we got in that one. And our larger one. To me, the onion skins, when you're doing chicken broth, give you a beautiful color. Yep, celery discards. Discard for chicken stock. Can't even read my own handwriting. Can't show you. Okay. Thigh cut off for chicken broth, but we're doing beef. Okay, so now it's just a matter of squishing these things down. Gotta get my pot filler. Remember, those were steak pieces and bones of things that we had cooked, whether it was the oven or the grill. So they're already, whatever they were seasoned with. I don't put peppercorn, salt, any of that. I'm gonna keep it simple. You stick your very clean hands in here. I like big pots, and I cannot lie. And these are going to release a lot of liquid because these were, of course, frozen. So, ends of onions I did not use. It's so not hard just to save those up in little freezer bags. Celery, if I could put it where you could see it, you'd probably like that. So let's see if you can see where the water is too. Don't fall in the pot water. So it's a good, what's that, 3 inches below the top. So now I'm just going to get this. Wait, don't be a drunk. Tripod. Why does everything in my house drink but me? Okay, so now I'm going to get the fire going on this. And I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to let it simmer probably 4 to 6 hours. And then we will can up, and of course we're going to pressure can it, our beef stock. It ain't hard, it's just canning. If I can do it, you can. I ain't nothing but a mouse. And then after this, I'll have to sweep up my whole floor because I make a big old mess. It's what I do. Yep. The weirdest thing that happens when you start this, because it was all frozen, notice the bottom of my pot has got sweaty condensation on it, and that is because everything that went into here was cold. So I just turned my fan on. Do not be alarmed. Don't be scared. You're just canning. So I'm going to put my lid on a little bit cattywampus because it is now boiling. And then I'm going to let it simmer 4 to 6 hours. So for those not familiar with the word cattywampus, it is my lid just a wee bit askew, okay, so that the steam can escape from it and get sucked up by my vent hood. So there we go. Now I'm going to get my canning book out and make myself a cheat sheet that when it is time to can this, I will have it written down that I'm gonna be canning beef broth and how long it needs to process. It ain't hard, it's just canning. So I go to the beef stock page and I make myself my cheat sheet. I'll need 1 inch of headspace. For pints, they'll process in a pressure canner 20 minutes. I write down when my 10 minutes vent starts and my process start time at 20 minutes. And of course, I'll have my 4 jars timer going, but just in case, I like to have a little backup and something written down of what I'm doing. So always go to one of your books. I'm not counting on my older lady memory. I write it down, I can't mess up. Because if I take in new information, I'll lose a PIN number or something important. Ain't nobody got time for that, okay? It ain't hard, just follow the rules. Alrighty then, this is what is left of my beef broth or stock. I use one of these to strain it. I choose to do it in a pitcher. This is a very small batch for me because I only used 1.25 bags of discarded carrot, celery, onion that I had frozen, and 1 bag and a little bit more of beef bones. When I've had larger batches, I use something like this. I lay it in a pot that can support it from the side, and then I strain my broth that way. But this is a smaller batch, and this is some wickedly beautiful stuff. So let's get started on canning it. It ain't hard. And we made our cheat sheet earlier, looking at the book to get the right time to process it. And of course, my canner is 10 minutes to vent it. So it's quite easy when you do it into an old type Tupperware pitcher. I have 3 of them that I use exclusively for this. So I don't really want to make tea in it. Okay, and one of the reasons that I like using these is I'm going to rinse this good with hot water, but this will then go in the top shelf of my dishwasher. And then I know it is sanitized and safe to use again in this type of action. And I will tell you this, canning ain't hard, but trying to video when you're canning is a wee bit difficult, okay? So I'm trying to get you an angle where you can see, because in this case, we're over by the stove, not on our island. Cleaned my countertops real well, cleaned my Pokey Joe and stuff from the chicken that we just canned. So let's see how big a mess we can make right here. And it's 1 inch of headspace, which is easier than 1 1/4 because it's right under the lip of that jar. And I've got my lids hot. I still Pokey Joe, it's just a habit. Do not have to do it with a liquid. But this way, sort of Pokey Joeing is in my wheelhouse of always doing it. It ain't hard to do. Okay, so we're a little bit short here on 1 inch. And headspace is everything. I just want to lay my Pokey Joe on something clean. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Set my funnel on top of a paper plate. Get my vinegar. Wipe my rim of my jar. Now I'm going to set this out of the bowl, and I can take a little bit more because my paper towel inside that can change the dynamic of it. Let's say that you get too much broth in here. Just take it out with a spoon. Stick it right back in your pitcher. So all's looking good there in my hood. I need my magic wand so I can get my lid Where are my rings? Here they are. And again, I've got 4 jar lids, limp wrist. Now, because this is hot and my canner is not yet, I'm just setting it over here to the side. Let's get another jar. get our little pitcher. And I just missed the jar. That was brilliant. That's why I use a paper towel, okay? Sometimes depth perception is not my thing. There are days where you just can't get your act together. It's just odd. Let's wipe our rim. And I'm going to go down the side since I made a messy mess. One inch is right underneath that bottom ring. Let's use our magic wand and get another one. Come on, magic wand. Give me my stuff. Hot. Let's get another ring. Limp wrist. Twist. Setting them right here. I'll do the other ones and see how many I get. Alrighty then, we got 6 pints, and I mean, we got it finished off that pitcher. So I will add a jar of water that I keep on hand for this, so I have a full canner. But first, let's go dump all of this out there because the tide is low and the fish can have a snack. Oh yeah. Alrighty then, we're gonna run our final canner load. And these are my 2 little jars of water that I use to make myself a full canner load. Oh, I am one tired mouse. I've been at this since 10 this morning. Get everybody comfortable. Where's my lid? And I recheck the bottom again, make sure everything's tight. Make sure my little emergency flipper can come up. Where's my X? So I have X here and one there. Sometimes you'll just look, it went right on like nothing. All right, so I'm gonna get it cranked up. I will then vent it for 10 minutes when this petcock, but it's not, because what it is a vent cover lock. When I get 10 minutes of steam through this, after this comes up, I'll bring it up to pressure with my little weighted gauge. And my cheat sheet that I got straight from the book says I'm gonna process it for 20 minutes. It ain't hard, it's candy. If I can do it, you can do it. Don't be scared. So I have added my beef broth that just came out of the canner over here next to my chicken. And like I said, canning is not hard. If I were not videoing this, it wouldn't have taken me all day. But when you video it, you gotta be careful not to lose a clip. So there I got 6 pints of great beef broth or stock to put on my shelves. And this is what I call inflation-proofing my pantry. And tomorrow I will wash these jars and put them on my shelves. It ain't hard.